Bim, bim, bim. Guess what? It's, well, it's just gone 10 o'clock. It's Sunday, and that means it's time for NewsNight at 10 weekly roundup. Yeah, how many bloody BBC programmes can I shove in to one introduction? Well, that question is asked every week, and every week it's the same. All of them. Anyway, yeah, we're going to do a look at the news this week, and there's been some news, although admitted, there's not been any news that I would class as being the major news of the week. There's just been stuff that's kind of been rumbling on, so we will take it as a rumbling on news rather than other stuff. Hi, Smiley Mac. I hope you're well. I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm in a 110 degrees centigrade oven at the moment. It's very hot. Very hot. In fact, we're having a heat wave. Although no one said a heat wave. Not staying for long today has been hell. I'm not even starting the show yet, and you already said it's like hell. I find that slightly offensive. Rollo. Yeah, we got various people who bob in and out. Don't forget, if you want to join in the chat, you can do. When we are live, just join in the chat. Hi T, hope you're good. And yeah, we can sort stuff out. By the way, T, I think I mentioned it before, but you were SBD on Tuesday. In excellent, good work. So yeah, we're all good. The heat and no train for 2 hours, and City fans all on a 2-carriage train in this heat. Okay, you've had a worse day than me, I'll give you that. I mean, most of you, I know you're a United fan. Don't like football, which is ironic really considering. But anyway, not everyone can like football, that's what I always say. In fact, I've never said that before in my life. That light seems a bit bright. Let's turn that down a bit, shall we? Let's turn it up. Let's turn it down, shall we? There we go. 8 eggs watching regular with Kelly and Rollo. It was nice to meet you, Stephen and Kelly, and thank you for showing me a picture of Rollo. Rollo. Sit down. Sit. Rollo, sit. And the train was very delayed because someone was on the track. Yeah, sorry about that. I got lost on my walk home. It took me 3 hours to get home. I loved it, I'll be honest with you. Lots of videos for the vlog and lots of videos for the next Wigan watch. Anyway, let's move on. We're going to start looking at the serious news of the week. Hi T, hope you're good. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and all the other nonsense that people say when they start a show. And yeah, like I said earlier, I've not really had two pieces of news that I would class as the main parts of the news this week. I'm not saying it's been a bit, you know, this week, but it's been a bit, you know, this week. So it's good things, isn't it? So we're going to go straight to the news that has been reported this week on British news channels. Am I allowed to do this with no top on? Because I am literally sweating like something horrendous. And the answer is no. I'm a news reader professional, and I am not allowed to do this with no shirt on. Mind you, the vlog is completely different. I apologise in advance for the vlog. Although you will see a clip from the vlog of which I've now christened, you've heard of the Loch Ness Monster. It's about the Wigan Canal Monster. I actually caught it on video in 4K, unlike the kids who catch Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster and what looks like film from like the 1920s. Yeah, we're doing. I'll be doing that later on after the world news. You can get to see the Wigan Canal Monster that I filmed earlier on today. Well, to be fair, scaring more people than the canal the canal, the Wigan Canal. Monster scared people because I had no top on, because it was not. But I love it when it's not. So there you go. Anyway, get back to the serious news of the week. Don't forget, you can agree with me, disagree with me, doesn't really matter. Just interact, that's what it's mainly about. You can like, share, subscribe, but also you could join in the chat and also comment as well. Listen to this as a podcast. I apologise in advance because it's quite visual. Although you'll be pleased to hear the visual does not include me with no top on this actual broadcast. However, there are others where, yeah, that isn't the case. Anyway, Monday the 13th of May. I mean, I'll be honest with you, we are already 2/3 of the way through May. May's the 5th month of the year. Next month is the 6th month of the year. And it only feels like a couple of weeks ago that we were celebrating Christmas and New Year. Hi JT, hi Rachel, hope you're all well. What the hell's that picture of? That's some weird picture. What is your picture? Oh, I can't see. I can't see. It won't let me. Well. But you've been upgraded, JT. So yeah, we're going to have a look at the news of the week as reported via UK. Don't forget to like, and all the other nonsense that you can do on this channel. Car crash? What? Oh, it's a car crash. I was making crash videos, but I got bored. What? Who's mentioned car? I've not mentioned car crashes. I mentioned the Wigan Canal monster, but I've not mentioned anything about crashes. I don't quite know where that's coming from. Anyway, let's not worry about that. Let's move on. I'm so hot. Not in a sexy way, just in a temperature way. Anyway, Monday the 13th of May 2024. Oh, your picture. Oh, it's a car. Your picture is a car crash. All right, I'm with you now. Oh, it does. Yeah, it might be a car on its side. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? Oh, what have I done? Oh no, it's all gone horribly wrong. I've not even done any news yet. Not even done any news yet. Because I've been busy doing other stuff. I can't remember what it is now. Oh yeah, reading the news. Monday the 13th of May. 13th time lucky I might actually get on with this thing. Russia claimed to have made huge gains near Krakow and Vuvajansk. Is it a turning point of the war, I asked on Monday. The answer was obviously no. Rishi has a profound sense of urgency, and we have more dangerous years ahead of us, particularly if Labour get in. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Tories are shit, but the Labour are going to be shitter. Starmer is in Birmingham, somewhere, he will be. And he says the most important mission is economic growth, and his important way of getting economic growth is by increasing economic migrants. Don't see how that's going to work. And probably increasing taxes as well that you lot pay. Prince William is the new Colonel-in-Chief of the Air Force. Should have been Prince Harry, but obviously Prince Harry's married to a complete waste of a life. So he's getting out. Meghan Markle obviously is the Yoko Ono of the royal family. Brings us to Tuesday the 14th. An armed gang in France ambush a police prison van, release a prisoner, and sadly at least 2 prison officers were shot dead and many more injured. It was at a toll booth in southern France. Was it northern France? It was in France. And yeah, they basically freed this person that no one had ever heard of, and now he's France's most wanted. As far as I'm aware, still on the run. The king unveiled a portrait of himself, and I'll be honest with you, when he pulled the ribbon and the thing came down, I think he shit himself, because it looked like Johnny Depp in A Nightmare on Elm Street. For those of you who don't know, Johnny Depp was the jock in A Nightmare on Elm Street and was sucked into the bed with a plume of blood splattering on the ceiling. Most teenagers, it's not usually blood that splatters on the ceiling, it's other bodily fluids. But anyway, it was a horror film, so it was just that. Yeah, okay, I made that last bit up. Not the body fluid bit, I mean. I've never got it past my belly button. But anyway, that's beside the point. Yeah, it was a really bizarre picture. We will see it later on. Or not, if you're listening to this as a podcast. See? Police clash with police. What? Into Tbilisi over new law against foreign agents. So basically, Tbilisi in Georgia has come up with this order, which basically says that anyone who is a foreign agent, i.e. not from their country, can be accused of spying for a foreign country by just doing anything, like even being there. So basically just killing any tourist that ever went, not literally, the tourism is probably a better word, of anyone who ever went to Georgia. Be honest, I know people have bent, or if you're blind people won't see. Thank you, Smiley Mac, for pointing out that we need to be inclusive by including blind people who won't see the picture as well as people listening to the podcast. The Co-op Live finally opens. Sadly, it was Elbow, that really overrated pile of shit band. It's got one of the filthiest songs in the history. What's going on there? Filthiest songs in the history of songs. Pull those curtains wide. One night like this will see me right. Yeah, you dirty fucking bastard. That's all I can say. Wednesday, the 15th of May. Slovakia PM is shot 5 times on a walkabout, kind of, and is in grave condition. It's the first assassination attempt on a European leader in over 20 years. And the 71-year-old is still in hospital in critical condition. This was on Wednesday when the shooting happened. To be fair, he's lucky he's still alive. Overcrowding in prisons. It's not something new for the UK, but they're now slowing down court cases so that if you're guilty of something, you can spend more time being free before you're found guilty of it, and then you can get sent to prison for being guilty of the thing that we've delayed the court case for, because we haven't got room to put you in prison. But we trust that you won't do anything wrong in that time, whilst in the freedom of waiting to go to court. What could possibly go in wrong? And meanwhile, other prisoners are being released 90 days early, which is great if you're a prisoner. Not so great if you're a victim of the crime of said prisoner. I mean, it's bad enough that they get out, but they've told us that some of the prisoners who are on severe and, you know, like murderers and things like that, they're not getting the 90 days extra. But you're like, well, if they've murdered people, why are they getting released anyway? But anyway, yeah, that's another story for another day. Trying to figure out why it looks so dark in here, and the reason it looks so dark in here is because I haven't switched one of my lights on. Possible talks between government and junior doctors. BMA, the junior doctors' greedy, spoilt brat unions, of saying that they will join in talks with the government and independent mediators. However, nothing's been said after that, so God knows what's going to happen. But the junior doctors are asking for a very reasonable 35% wage increase. Southwest Britain, many people are told to boil water. Meanwhile, in Cumbria, reports that raw sewage has ended up in Windermere illegally. I mean, any raw sewage in Windermere, I would imagine, is illegal. I can't imagine any legal way of it doing it. But this brings me back to my big thing about water companies. Now, water, or any liquid, is a necessity for life. So why are they absolutely sold to private companies who are only interested in making profit? My argument has been, and always will be, the companies that bought these oil companies decades ago bought an infrastructure that was basically, the majority of it, Victorian. And since then, the population of the UK has quadrupled, fiftupled, quintupled. It's got a lot more. And the infrastructure can no longer cope with it. So other than in London, where they've done the super sewer, which is Thames anyway, not United Utilities, or South West Water, there's not been a lot of infrastructure upgrades, but there's been a lot of money paid out to shareholders. So, I've said this before, I'll say it again, I'll probably say it now. I'm going to say it now, I'll be honest. You've got to bear in mind that these companies have milked millions and millions of pounds of profit for something which is a human necessity. This is not a luxury, this is not like Sky or even broadband. You know, you need water to live, you need water to keep yourself clean, to clean your clothes, to wash your dishes, to wash yourself, and to drink. And people are making money from this and not investing. So, my theory is we get control back of the water companies. So, whatever the water company paid for the water company that they purchased, so in our case it's United Utilities, whatever they paid, we pay them back. So we say, you know, if it was like 3 billion, then we give them 3 billion. But what we knock off is the profit that they have made in that time. So if they made 7 billion profit, all of a sudden we get it for free with a 4 billion pound margin, to be fair. I don't expect them to pay us 4 billion, but you know, these are all figures I've just plucked out of my mind. I've had a long birthday weekend, so I'm going to bed. Have a nice night, everyone. Oh, belated happy birthday, Smiley Mac. 2001, so you'll be 23. Happy 23rd. Or whatever. Anyway, I lost my train of thought there. Yeah, but whatever they've invested into the water companies, they can add that back on again. So if they've invested 2 billion in improving the water infrastructure in the northwest, then that knocks it down to only 2 billion. But they made £2 billion more than they've spent. Ergo, we get it for free, and then any money that would have gone to shareholders can actually go for the infrastructure of the water companies. And if anyone says anything different, they're wrong. Brings us to Thursday the 16th. Water contamination in Brixham, which is a part of the southwest that we're talking about, could be from farm animal waste, i.e. cattle, sheep, goats weeing and pooing, and something to do with the valve that might have been faulty, because there was a field over the water storage area. Now the thing that scares me about water is I don't drink tap water. I brush my teeth with it, I shower in it, I cook, well I wash with it as in pots and pans, and I cook with it occasionally if I boil anything, but I don't drink it out of the tap. I drink bottled water out of bottles. I know it's probably not much better, but let's just go with it. But we had a problem in, I think it was Cumbria or Lancashire, a couple of years ago, and they come up with this idea. There was this bacteria that was in the water, or this virus, or whatever you want to call it, this organism in the water that was causing diarrhea and various other ailments, vomiting and everything else, so people dehydrating and all that. Boil your water and it'll kill it and all that kind of stuff. They come up with this thing where the water went through this short length of pipe that was about 2 meters long that had UV light in it, and the UV light killed this bacteria, organism, whatever you want to call it. Didn't filter it out though, so you're still drinking. You're basically drinking dead organisms within your water. Nah. And this is basically what's happened down in Brixham. So if I'm in Brixham, I would not be drinking the water ever again, like I don't drink in the northwest either. Thank you, it was yesterday and it's just been very busy. Well, happy birthday for yesterday and stuff. Can't think of anything else to say really. It was his birthday. 71-year-old is charged with attempted murder of the Slovakia. Oh, it wasn't the Georgian, it was the Slovakian Prime Minister. Yeah, it was the 71-year-old. Video showed him just in the crowd. He had his back to the Slovakian PM and then turned around and shot him 5 times in the stomach and the arm. Keir Starmer. Now, I'll be honest with you, I've moaned a lot about Keir Starmer. As in, I've got absolutely no idea what the hell he stands for, and if I was to vote for him, which would never happen, then what would I get? And the answer is something worse than Rishi Sunak. So if I was voting, I would vote for Rishi Sunak, which is, oh God, that pains me to say that. But better the devil you know, as Kylie Minogue once said. Anyway, Keir Starmer has put his first 6 steps after his general election win, which may not be as close as he thinks it is going to be. No, may not be as far away as he thinks it's going to be. Meanwhile, at the same time, Rishi Rich was on Loose Women, talking absolute bollocks as well. But anyway, what can you do? So, number 1 of Keir Starmer's reasons to be cheerful, part 1. Deliver economic stability, part 3. Number 2, cut NHS waiting times, part 3. Launch new border security commands. What that is that? New border security commands, that means, that's just words, it means call. Set up Great British Energy, it's back. The Great British Energy that he realised he couldn't afford is now back. But he can't afford it. He admitted he can't afford it a couple of months ago. We even talked about it on air, that it was absolute nonsense. You cannot set up an energy company from nothing. You have to buy infrastructure. And it costs you a fucking fortune to do that. But anyway, that's what he's going to do, because he's a cuckoo. He's going to crack down on antisocial behaviour. Well, that was in my local election pamphlet that I did a few weeks ago. I've actually got it here, although you can't see it because it's green. Where have I put it? Oh, maybe I didn't mention it this time. I did mention it before. But anyway, yeah. Oh no, there we go. Where put it? I put it somewhere, but anyway, antisocial behaviour and all that. What I basically said was, I definitely said it last year, I'm sure I said it this year as well, that I would basically give the police the powers to crush all motorbikes, like off-road scramblers and that kind of thing, that weren't taxed, insured or MOT'd, along with quads and other annoying vehicles that just destroy everyone's quality of life. If I had a car and I was driving it around with no insurance, no licence, no tax, no MOT, never been serviced, I would have it taken off me and crushed. So why do we let kids get away with these kind of things? And I'd even go even further, that if a household is caught more than 3 times with these vehicles, which are then taken away and crushed, and they're in social housing, they are evicted from said housing. That's how you crack down on antisocial behaviour. Oh, it's also going to recruit 6,500 new teachers. Don't know where from. Well, let's not worry about that. I mean, it's Keir Starmer's. I mean, he lives up there with the fairies. There he is. Thank you. The guy's dangerous. Anyone who votes for him needs a lobotomy. Putin goes to Beijing and meets President Xi Jinping. They have a lovely time. Unions, kids in universities. Why do we allow students in universities? They're all, I mean, they make Keir Starmer look sensible. That says something. Lancaster University, less than 20 students who were in some kind of we're better than everyone else organisation, has decreed that Lancaster University sites should all go vegan. All of them. Everything. Apart from areas that are owned and run by external suppliers. So if Burger King, for example, had a building or a room in there that they used as a Burger King, then they could still keep selling burgers. But anything run by the university would have to go completely 100% vegan. Where's that machine gun? Students. May the 17th was a Friday. Israel said they recovered 3 bodies of people killed on October the 7th last year. And they said they were killed by Hamas. And I'm like, well, hang on a minute. That was over 6 months ago. And you've only just found the bodies now. Why would anyone move the bodies of dead people and keep them hostage? Isn't it more likely that in their destruction of Gaza, these people have been killed by Israelis or been killed by Hamas panicking that the Israelis are coming to get them? So technically it's Israelis' fault, but they're blaming Hamas for killing them on October the 7th. Now, unless they've preserved these bodies in some weird cryogenic thing, I don't understand how they found bodies and not just skeletal remains. I mean, let's be honest, that part of the world is not the not the coolest part of the world. You ain't going to freeze anyone unless you've got external reasons to do that. And why would you do that? The whole thing stinks, as it does everything that Israel does. Don't get me wrong, I'm not supporting Hamas. Hamas need to be destroyed, but not at the expense of innocent civilians of Palestine. Be that the West Bank, which is getting as much, maybe not as much, but certainly a lot of aggression from the IDF, Israeli Defence Force, but Gaza, where South Africa keeps accusing them of genocide. Now, I would not say genocide is the word I would use, but I would say, and I have said before and I will say again, I fail to see what the difference is between dropping leaflets from aeroplanes telling people to move from an area to a safe area and then attacking that safe area, killing many people, than putting people on trains 80 years ago. I mean, difference? I'm not exactly sure. They're also saying that the aid has improved going into Gaza, despite the fact they've closed an aid border at Rafah. I mean, the Israelis, the government and the people running the army should all be in The Hague for war crimes, as should Putin, as should Tony Blair, as should George W. Bush. They are all war criminals in my eyes. It doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter what religion you support, it doesn't matter anything else. If you commit these atrocities against innocent people, you are creating war crimes. You go to The Hague and go to prison. It's never going to happen for any of them, but we can live in hope. Plaid Cymru has ended the relationship with the Labour government in Wales following many perceived issues with procedure. So don't quite know what's going on there. Now Labour are the controlling party in Wales, which is devolved, as the SNP are in Scotland, and that's going well, isn't it, let's be honest. But it turns out that Plaid Cymru, the Welsh party, now have parted ways with the Labour coalition members, and I mean, a lot has been going wrong in Wales as well. I mean, the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit nonsense that they came up with. I mean, it's one thing to say 20-mile-an-hour speed limit, it's another thing to monitor it, and then everyone's just breaking the law all the time. And we get the same thing in the UK as well, particularly, well, in England. I mean, even around here, you know, many roads, which are quite wide roads, have got this thing on them saying that they're 20 mile an hour, and no one, buses, even police now, have not got the blue lights flashing or whatever, actually stick to the 20 mile an hour. So it's either 20 mile an hour or it's not 20 mile an hour. And where it should be is near schools and things like that. Where it shouldn't be is, you know, like on main roads going through town centres and stuff like that, where there's perfectly good pelican crossings, etc. But anyway, it's another argument from the team. Brings us to Saturday the 18th. It's claimed that 800,000 refugees have fled Rafah as the IDF attack the city. Once again, the IDF living up to the true, well, just showing us how evil they are. And a fourth hostage body has been recovered. Again, I fail to see how that is Hamas who've done that, because I fail to see why they would take a body through the whole length of Gaza to Rafah when they've got live hostages that are probably more important for them to keep. The whole thing just screams corruption, lies and everything else on both sides, don't get me wrong. I'm not defending Hamas. But let's be honest, Israel did admit that its troops killed 3 Israeli hostages who'd got themselves free from Hamas, and ironically would have been safer staying with the Hamas terrorists than what they were, trying to flee the Hamas terrorists and going towards the Israeli troops. Insane. Restrictions are being lifted over water contamination in the southwest. This is after the Southwest Water Company told people that the water was safe to drink, and then within 24 hours said, no, it's not, boil it. And now one hopes that they're actually filtering out the bodies of the bacteria that is in the water, rather than just telling people they can drink it, but they're drinking dead bacteria or dead viruses or dead whatever the hell they are. I thought someone had typed something in, but they haven't. Sunday the 19th, President of Iran is missing after his helicopter disappears in very thick fog. Apparently it was one of 3 helicopters in I don't really call them a helicopter convoy, but certainly in a travelling pack of helicopters, and Iranian TV has said it suffered a heavy landing. Now, heavy landing could be it landed heavily, i.e. it landed heavily, or it could be like Elon Musk's team at SpaceX say, unexpected sudden dismantlation or whatever it was, when their rockets explode. One hopes for everyone involved that it's the former and not the latter. 14-year-old boys tragically died in the Tyne River, and a 13-year-old boy is critical. I may have mentioned it's been a bit warm today. I've been scaring the people on the canal walking there with just a pair of shorts on. It terrifies people. And it doesn't do much for the ducks either, I'll be honest. But anyway, these temperatures do let teenagers feel the need to jump into water, and I was amazed, to be fair, walking along the canal for a good couple of hours, that I didn't see any teenagers congregated at locks or anywhere jumping into the water, which was pleasantly, surprisingly good. Although there were some kids from a distance I could hear were jumping in and out of the River Duggy, but that wasn't directly linked to the canal that I was walking on. But either way, the cold water shock that you get when you, particularly when it's warm like this, and then you jump into water which hasn't warmed up anywhere near, can be very dangerous. And then obviously you've got, particularly in a river, you've got tidal flow, or the flow of the river in general, and then you've got obstacles underneath as well, including possible rocks or even just debris like shopping trolleys and that kind of thing. And every year we get these tragedies where teenagers lose their lives. We've had a few around here as well. I think Precious was one of the last young men who lost their lives in a local quarry, which is filled up with water, and there's lots of commotion going on about what to do about that, and people say we should fill it in. The problem is that the quarry itself is that huge, it would take a considerable length of time to fill in, and even then it probably wouldn't solve the problem because they'd find somewhere else to jump in. But either way, typical tragedy, unfortunately, when we get warm weather here in the UK. Meanwhile in Brazil, you remember Brazil, the country that was encouraged by their former president to chop down the rainforest. You know, the rainforest, the lungs of the planet, the rainforest that absorb water from the rain, hence it's called rainforest. Anyway, 155 people have died recently in severe floods, and one wonders, not that I believe in God, but is it God's revenge on the people of Brazil? The ecosystem works because it's natural, and as soon as you start messing with it, that's when shit happens. And they've been knocking down and chopping down rainforest for so long now, that it's amazing that these things haven't happened before. And say it's unprecedented rain. How can have unprecedented rain in a fucking rainforest? Makes no sense. I mean, I feel for the people who've lost their lives, but I feel there are people who are accountable for the loss of lives in Brazil. The people who encourage people to chop down the rainforest. I mean, everything has consequence. Every action has a reaction. Thanks to Einstein for that thing. I don't think he meant rainforest and things like that, but I'm pretty sure that Einstein never thought that the human race would be so stupid as to knock down, chop down and burn down the rainforest to plant palm oil and graze cows on it. Anyway, that brings us to the news reported this week from around the world. And by around the world, I usually mean, what's this? Yeah, that was alright. By around the world, I usually mean news from around the world. and it's America and Australia. Not necessarily in that order, but it is. There we go. I can't find the right file. Australia first. And are your grocery bills widening? Rising? Well, widening as well, I suppose, because people's receipts have got wider, haven't they? Yeah, the big question in Australia is, are you spending more at the supermarkets this year? Ahead of tomorrow's federal budget, new research shows grocery bills are on the rise. Remember, this is Australia. Nearly 50% of Aussies are spending more at the supermarket than they did last year, and more than half are delaying purchases until they go on sale, according to the Monash University study. And then someone's commented, a royal commission needs to happen into the price gouging. Affording healthy food should not be an issue in our country, and it shouldn't be an issue in any country, particularly countries like Australia and most of Europe and New Zealand and all that. But it kind of proves the point that what's going on in the UK is going on everywhere. It's not just the UK. Everyone says, oh, it's because of Brexit, oh, it's because of the Tories, oh, it's because of this. It's not. It's all over the world, and there are bigger people pulling strings. And the more I think about it, the more I think that we are being diluted as a nation as well by all these migrants coming in, not just in the UK, but in Europe, in America. Australia are clamping down on it like crazy. We're getting all these people coming from Africa, from Asia, and it's putting pressure that we don't need on our country's infrastructure. Talking about the Victorian water infrastructure earlier on. I mean, come on, you know, there's only so much we can take. Eurovision bans the EU flag from the song contest, and the EU is demanding to know why. Now, I wasn't aware of this, but yeah, apparently the EU flag, the blue flag with the ring of stars on it, was not allowed at Eurovision. You know, Eurovision, EU, Eurovision Union, or Euro Union, or European Union. But no, we are moving away from that. We're only allowed to show Palestinian and LGBT plus flags. Maybe not. Jewish flags probably. Anyway, every Australian household can look forward to help with their energy bills, with the Treasurer set to unveil a new electricity rebate in his budget speech tonight. Now obviously this is before the event. Now in the UK we did have, not this winter but last winter, we had the £60 a month every household got towards the electricity bills. It's happening in Australia. Why is it happening in Australia? Now, to be fair, in Australia it's winter, so they are feeling the cold. I mean, it's not as cold for most of Australia than it gets even here in the winter, in the summer. But, you know, it's still cold. Every household in the country will get a $300 American discount on their energy bills under a 3.5 billion Australian dollar cost of living package included in the federal budget. Small businesses will also benefit from the Energy Bill Relief Fund, which we didn't get in the UK, with around 1 million eligible organisations to get $325 off their power bills. Now, 300 Australian dollars equates to about £10.50 in the UK, but it's still better than nothing and proves the point. Now, I'll be honest, it's another Australian thing, and I'll be brutally honest with you, this is not necessarily what I would consider a problem that is European as well. Mislabeled shark meat in fish and chips. And you're like, what? Ever thought about what you're really eating when you order fish off the menu? A significant amount of shark meat has been mislabeled in fish and chips, according to the university study. Researchers found shark meat sold in Australian fish markets and takeaways may include that of threatened species. And I'm like, I didn't even know shark meat was a thing in Australia that you could buy from the chip shop. Anyway, it turns out not only are they using shark meat, which is like, what the? But they're using endangered shark meat, which you're not notified about. So you order shark meat, fish and chips. Why the fuck would you do that? But you may be getting endangered species. It's like me ordering fish and chips and getting pike. Don't tell him pike. Ah, pike. Oh, Mr. Manning. A barge has hit a bridge in Galveston, Texas, partially collapsing a rail line and closing the only road to a small island. Now, if you've been watching this story and watching the news and watching these, not this story, if you've been watching this program or whatever the hell it is, listening to it on podcast for a while, you know that we've covered the story of the bridge that was the Key West Bridge that was completely destroyed by a very large ship. Well, this is a much smaller scale, but a similar thing. More of it later. Pizza Hut fined $2.5 million Australian dollars for spam. Pizza Hut had been fined $2.5 million Australian dollars for spending sending more than 10 million spam emails and texts to customers over a 4-month period. An investigation by ACMA found the chain restaurant sent nearly 6 million marketing texts and emails in just 6 months to customers who didn't consent or who had withdrawn from receiving marketing messages. Now, I'm lucky, even though my email and everything is all over the internet, I don't get a lot of spam. Mainly because I don't like it, I prefer luncheon meat. Yeah, it's nice to know that the Australian authorities are taking it serious. The strange items found in recycling bins, including donkey heads, snakes and dead cows. Now, I don't know why, but I can see a donkey head fitting in a recycle bin. Snakes, again, I don't know why, but I can see how they would fit in a recycle bin. Cows? How the friggin' hell do you get a cow in a wheelie bin? I mean, that takes some doing. Many Aussies are unsure how to dispose of their dead pets, according to a new waste survey. 80% of people don't know how to dispose of their animals when they die, with 38% admitting they put them in the bin, while 42% said they had no idea. I usually bury them. The survey also found vapes and batteries were being incorrectly disposed of. Well, I think we all dispose of batteries incorrectly. A Pizza Hut, Kentucky Fried Chicken, a Pizza Hut, oh yeah, that's the song, isn't it? Thank you, Toff, for bringing that back to us. I can take away the moderator status. Just saying. But yeah, what worries me is the fact that it doesn't take much to completely destroy an entire bin lorry of recycled material. So, for example, one pizza box. If you have a delivery from Pizza Hut or wherever, Kentucky Fried Chicken and yeah, whatever. If you have a delivery from them, and you put that in the cardboard recycling and it doesn't get noticed, it can completely trash an entire bin lorry because of the fats that are in it. Also the plastic as well, if you leave that little doll's house garden table that they leave in them things. iPhone users report outage. Apple users are experiencing an iMessage outage, resulting in all messages being sent as text messages. Reports of the outage span across Australia and the United States, regardless of which telco provider they are with. So it's more of an iPhone issue. So you have an iPhone, it wasn't working properly earlier on in the week, you now know why. Remember, it's winter in Australia. Polar blast hits east coast. Parts of New South Wales, Victoria and South Australia will feel a cold nip in the air this weekend as polar air mass sweeps across the east coast, moving further north after it froze Tasmania on Friday. Queensland will also be hit by the cold fronts, but it won't feel it as much as the lower parts of the east coast. So yeah, they're getting, for Australia, quite severe weather. Meanwhile, in the UK, the question on Talk TV, now just Talk, do you want Sharia law in the UK? Political broadcaster Peter Barnes believes religion should be kept out of politics. Now Peter Barnes, the gentleman on the left, has he lost some weight? He was on Wigan Watch about a year ago, and Louis Perry, the lady to his left, is the new leader of UKIP, and they're coming up with stuff that you're like, oh my god, I agree with that, I agree with that, I agree with that, but I'm not voting UKIP because, well, they ain't going to get in, are they? Biden repeats the lie that inflation was at 9% when he came in as president. President Biden again claimed that the annual US inflation rate was 9% when he took office in January 2021, when it was actually 1.4%, and didn't pass 9% until 17 months into his term. But you have to bear in mind, he's an old man who doesn't know what he's doing. Some might say that about me as well, but there you go. A Coast Guard in America catches 23 Cuban migrants heading to Florida and sends them back home. That's exactly what we should be doing. None of this bleeding Rwandan nonsense. The US Coast Guard intercepted 2 separate boats packed with Cuban migrants trying to set foot in Florida and sent all of them packing back home. In both cases, the migrants were packed onto tiny vessels ill-suited for the high seas. And under Title 8, migrants who arrive without authorization will be repatriated and deemed ineligible for legal immigration pathways, says the Lieutenant of the Coast Guard. And that's exactly what we should do. Not send them back to Cuba, that'd be weird. It'd be more expensive to send them to Rwanda. I mean, the Rwanda thing is absolute bullshit, let's be honest. But we can legally send them back to the last country that was safe, which in every single case is France. So we just send them back to France. None of this hotel nonsense. None of this, we're going to send them to Rwanda, but we've lost 4,000 of them or 20,000 of them, whatever it is. These people, we don't know who they are. They could be paedophiles, they could be murderers, they could be rapists, they could be drug dealers, they could be terrorists, they could be anyone, and we've lost them in the country. Just send them back to France. That's all it takes. It's not a lot. New York City's massive salute to Israel parade to go ahead despite violent recent demonstrations. In Rwanda, they will be getting £3,000 and 5 years rent-free house. Indeed, Toff. Absolute nonsense. The whole thing is bull, as far as I'm concerned. Protests be damned. Defiant organisers of the city's annual Salute to Israel parade announced that the march will go ahead this year despite recent violent local anti-Semitic demonstrations. It's scheduled for June the 2nd. Now, I don't think we should be supporting a country that is waging ethnic cleansing on many people. However, I do not blame the people of the Jews of New York for the situation going on in Gaza. But I think it's just stirring trouble by doing this, and this is going to make anti-Semitism even larger in America if this goes ahead. I mean, just be discreet, you know. Do your little celebrations or whatever, but do them in a way that doesn't offend people who are worried about innocent people being slaughtered by Israelis in Gaza. Boy 9 ducks for cover as bullets from drive-by shooting rip through his Texas home. A Texas boy is lucky to be alive after bullets from a drive-by shooting smashed through his apartment window and missed him by mere inches, as seen in disturbing security camera footage from inside his home. The video shows Errol Hill, 9, climbing onto the couch in his living room about 7:30 p.m. Shortly after, the windows are blown in by bullets from a drive-by shooting, and you can see the dog to the far left there, which if you zoom in is actually also literally needing to go to the bathroom straight away. A couple of things about this though is, who has a washing machine stroke dryer in the living room? B, why is the dog cage high up? C, who the hell has a camera in their house? I mean, that is getting weird. Especially it's pointed at the couch. Imagine if, you know, the young lad gets to about 14, 15 and he's on his own in his house and does what 14-year-olds do, and it's there on camera. No! I think people who have cameras in their own house on items of furniture and they haven't made bedrooms. What is wrong with you people? That is weird. Ugh. Meanwhile, Mega Millions winner sued by family for breaking promise to share his $1.35 billion jackpot. A Maine man who won one of the biggest lottery jackpots in American history has been accused of stiffing his family out of their promised share of the loot, including backpedaling on setting up a $1 million trust fund and covering medical expenses for his father. The unidentified man, seen in the picture above, who bought the winning ticket in Lebanon, Maine, on January of last year before striking it rich. I mean, you know, it's like those old memes, in it, that you see, where it's, you know, if I win the lottery, I won't tell anyone, but there will be signs, and you're like driving a Formula 1 car into your drive or something daft like that. Migrants charged with smuggling exotic birds to the US and drowning them when the Coast Guard closed in. So a crew of heartless migrants are charged with smuggling exotic birds into Puerto Rico and throwing more than 100 overboard as the US Coast Guard closed in on them. 113 of the rare feathered treasures were captured on the Dominican Republic and stashed in wooden cages aboard the ship bound for America. Because the birds were in cages, the criminals panicked when they saw the Coast Guards come in and threw the cages with the birds with no means of escape. Basically to drown. I mean, horrendous. 8 killed and dozens injured after a bus believed to be carrying migrant workers crashes in Florida. A multi-vehicle crash in Florida involving a bus believed to be carrying immigrant workers killed 8 people and left 45 others injured. Emergency workers arrived at the scene of a fatal bus crash carrying labourers that overturned on Tuesday morning. Later turns out it had been sideswiped by a 4x4. More of that later. Dad of teen killed in hit and run boat crash shares heartbreaking tributes. He says that we were robbed of all the things you could have achieved. The father of Ella Ray Adler, the 15-year-old ballerina killed in a hit and run boat crash in Miami, recalled in a heartbreaking letter read at the teen's funeral that he and his wife always felt their daughter got the best parts of both of us. It is tragic when a youngster is killed under any circumstances, and you do think, you know, what could they have achieved with their lives? You never know. That's the tragedy of it. A Utah mum sues AstraZeneca, claiming she was left permanently disabled in a COVID vaccine trial. She took part in the US clinical trial of AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine and is now suing the drug manufacturer because they failed to cough up enough cash to cover her medical expenses. She says Brianna Dresden, who's 42, was the picture of good health when she started the British-made vaccines clinical trial, but now suffers from very many medical issues. Now, it's difficult to say whether or not these medical issues are caused by the vaccine or not, but it is coincidental, isn't it, that the majority of these people who are dropping dead and etc. Are the ones who have had the vaccine, whereas other people who haven't had the vaccine seem to be less likely to do that. It is a peculiar thing. Having said that, I didn't have the vaccine, which means I'll probably drop dead in the next 5 minutes, but you know, it wasn't because of the vaccine. The Baltimore Key Bridge span comes down after it was set off or blown up by a chain of explosives. Crews set off a chain of carefully placed explosives to break down the largest remaining span of the collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, and with a boom and a splash the mangled steel trusses came crashing down into the river below. It's hopefully means that they can free the ship, which, look at the damage of it, you didn't realise the damage was quite that bad. But yeah, they can free the ship and hopefully find the bodies that are still missing of I think at least 2 of the workers that were on the bridge at the time, and then open the channel and then hopefully in time rebuild the bridge, and hopefully even more so put in safety measures so nothing like this can ever happen again. Meanwhile, I mean, what do you get if you put a New York City Dublin portal up? You're going to get people getting the Norks out. An OnlyFans model flashed the New York to Dublin portal as organisers rushed to make fixes on the 24/7 live stream that has been marred by lewd behaviour since it was open last week. Ava Louise, who has more than 400,000 followers on Instagram, claimed in a post that she forced organisers to pull the plug on the portal after she flashed her breasts from the American side to her counterparts in Dublin. I mean, I'm amazed that's the only thing that's happened. I can imagine, you know, it's an opportunity, isn't it, to get your bits around the world, literally. House passes bill forcing US supplied weapons to Israel despite Biden veto threat. The House approved legislation on Thursday that would force President Biden to swiftly send US weapons to Israel amid its war with Hamas terrorists on the Gaza Strip. And this is in the face of a pause on the last one shipment and looming veto threat from the Commander-in-Chief. So basically, the US government is powerless against the murdering scumbags that is the Israeli government stroke IDF. Teen who ate spicy tortilla chip died of high chili consumption and had an heart defect. This is from Boston. A Massachusetts teen who participated in a spicy tortilla chip challenge on social media died from eating a large quantity of chili pepper extract and also had a congenital heart defect. That's probably more the reason for the death, to be fair, as tragic as it is, according to an autopsy result. Harris Woolaba, a 10th grader from the city of Worcester, died in 2023 after eating the chip in the Paku Chip Challenge. I mean, these online challenges do seem to take a considerable amount of human life for, as I can make out, no reason whatsoever. 1.7 million gotaways have sneaked into the US under Biden, more than in previous decade combined. More than 1.7 million migrant gotaways have illegally sneaked over the southern border without being apprehended during the Biden administration, according to a newly revealed Border Patrol data. The huge number of gotaways, defined of those who have been spotted by agents or via video cameras but not caught, is higher than the 1.4 million recorded in the entire decade previous. So yeah, I say slow, it's not slow at all. The what's the word I'm looking for? Dilutement of national identity continues. Although some would say that America is the actual white people in America are the ones who shouldn't be there. But anyway. Pro-Trump artist releases 100 penis-shaped balloons with faces of Alvin Bragg and Judge Merchan on them. Controversial Staten Island artist and activist Scott Lobado released 100 pink penis-shaped balloons featuring the faces of Donald Trump's foes, like Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, and this was outside the courthouse where the ex-president's hush-money trial is taking place. The pro-Trump provocator said he released the art installation in order to prove the point that the other people are, are you ready for this? Dickheads. Because that's where he put their faces on the head of the... See, it all makes sense. The whole thing makes... If you think about it, the whole thing makes sense. What's that? Have I jumped something here? I have jumped. I've jumped. I do apologise. Peter have jumped. Over a dozen victims ambushed by New York City teen robbery crew at Bronx Park in month-long spree. A dozen robbery crew ambushed more than a dozen victims. Oh, a teen robbery crew ambushed more than a dozen victims, most around their own age, during a months-long violent mugging spree around the Bronx Claremont Park, police said. The three boys, 13, 14 and 17, and an 18-year-old, called Sincere Johnson, have been arrested in connection with a string of callous crimes that began back in January. Now, a lot of people are saying that crime in New York is beyond epidemic for many reasons. Banksy Museum opens in New York City to bring elusive works to fans. If people can't see it, is it even art? Although we still don't know who he is, we know where to find him. The new Banksy Museum in New York represents what it claims to be the world's largest collection of the globally famous yet anonymous artists' life-size murals and other artworks, or at least magnificent reproductions of the arts. The museum opened its doors in Soho on Wednesdays. Now, I did a bus journey a while ago, and I went to the exact same Banksy exhibition when it was in Salford at Media City, and I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I've always liked Banksy, but I didn't realise how much I liked Banksy until I went to see it, and you can see it yourself. What I filmed very artily in the aforementioned video on YouTube. There's a moth flying. Why is there a moth flying in a room there's literally no way in? And instantly, like that, Toff's put a link up, so you can click on that at your own leisure. Don't do it yet though. Toff, you're amazing when you do stuff like that. Biden trips, barely avoids a nasty fall while honouring fallen police officers. President Biden just missed taking a brutal spill, catching his foot on a step as he took to the stage of the National Peace Officers Memorial Service at the Capitol. The 81-year-old Biden managed to reach the microphone without further incident before paying his respects to law enforcement officers who have given their lives in the line of duty. I mean, it would have been ironic for Biden to have a fall at a ceremony honouring fallen police officers. But obviously every officer that has given their lives to the duty of their jobs deserves the utmost respect. OnlyFans model Ava Louise says she made $30,000 in 2 days from a New York double-in portal scandal. She found a pot of gold at the end of the portal. The OnlyFans model who flashed the New York to double-in portal said she earned a pretty penny off the scandal. In the past 2 days I made $30,000 just off this whole scandal. It's been so awesome, Ava Louise, 25, told the Post. Ava Louise flashed her breasts at the New York City and double-in portal over the weekend. And they even give her a Instagram address out as well, which I won't be reading now because I don't want to promote such disgusting behaviour. What's this one? Is this one we've already done? Is this where I skip? Oh no. Barge crashes into Texas bridge causing oil spill, road and rail closures. A barge hit a bridge in Galveston, Texas, spilling oil into the surrounding waters and closing the only road to a small island. The bridge that leads to Pelican Island, located just north of Galveston, was hit by a barge around 9:30 a.m. with the Galveston's Office of Emergency Management Oil responding. Oil spills in the surrounding area were mopped up fairly swiftly within a couple of days, which is fairly swift to be fair if you think about it. Meanwhile, did you miss the Northern Lights? Well, don't worry, look. Sun shoots out biggest solar flare in almost 2 decades, just days after the solar storms plummeted Earth. The sun produced its biggest flare in nearly 2 decades, just days after the severe solar storms plummeted Earth and created dazzling northern lights in unaccustomed places. It's not done yet, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration announced. It's the biggest flare of this 11-year solar cycle. So you may get to see the northern lights again, or for the first time if you missed it last time. A cargo ship that caused Baltimore Key Bridge collapse had power blackouts hours before leaving the port. Now this gets alarm bells ringing because we all saw the video of it before it hit the bridge, go into complete darkness, and then the lights come on again, and then go into darkness again, and then by the time the lights come on again, there was no way. You can't stop a ship, particularly of that size, on a pound coin. You just can't do it. So the ship was already going into the barrier long before it was due to do so. Hang on, what's going on? I've lost my train of, there we go. Anyway, it turns out now that they had power outages before it even left the dock. So the big question is, why was it allowed to leave the dock in the first place? The organisers pulled the plug on the New York City double-in portal for now, as raunchy behaviour runs rampant. That didn't take long. The plug has been pulled on the New York City to double-in portal, as raunchy and revolting behaviour has run rampant on the 24/7 live stream. The portal is shut down, as staffers will work over the next few days to minimise the shocking conduct. I mean, you've got to put something up that live streams people to the other side of the world, near enough, that are in an unmonitored situation, i.e. on the streets in New York / Dublin. What do you expect humans to do? They're going to get the bits out and show each other the bits. Over a dozen victims ambushed by New York City teen robbery crew at Bronx Park in months-long spree. This was, already done that one, haven't I? Let's move on, shall we? Banksy Museum, oh, I've done that one as well. Oh, crikey, we are getting, I think this is where I hit the thing, is it? Let's have a look, here we go. Director of company behind New York City Dublin portal say flashes, raunchy antics are inevitable, but he vows a return for the portal. The misbehaviour at the New York City Dublin portal has caused organisers to shut down the live stream link between the two cities, including a New Jersey only fan star who flashed the screen. It was inevitable, says the director of the company behind the project. Of course it's inevitable, it's human nature, isn't it? You can have a way of doing something a bit rude and get no consequences, you're going to do it, of course you are. Right, hang on a minute, what is going on here? I've got myself completely lost on my screens here. Let's have a look. We've done that one, we've done that one, let's go to that one. We've done that one, we've done that one. We've done that one. No, we haven't done that. We've done that one though, haven't we? Have we done that one? Let's have a look. Have we done that one? Oh, but yeah, we've done the penis balloons, we've done that. Next. Hundreds turn out for funeral of Indiana boy 10 who killed himself after horrific bullying. Hundreds of people, including more than 100 bikers, showed up to mourn an Indiana 10-year-old boy who killed himself, reportedly after suffering months of horrific bullying at school. 10 years old. Tearful mourners arrived at the Brandywine Church, accompanied by a fleet of bikers to say goodbye to Sammy Touche, a 4th grader at Greenfield Intermediate School, who was bullied right up until the night he took his own life. I mean, it's shocking enough when teenagers take their lives because of something like that, but a 10-year-old, you don't even know what life is, and you feel that you can't continue anymore because of bullies. Horrendous. The Mirage Casino, which ushered in an era of Las Vegas Strip mega resorts in the 90s, is closing down. The iconic Mirage Hotel Casino on the Las Vegas Strip will shut its doors this summer, the end of an era for a property credited with helping transform Sin City into an ultra-luxury resort destination. The July 17th closure will clear the way for major renovations and construction on the 80-acre property, which will reopen in 2027 as the Hard Rock Las Vegas, featuring a hotel tower. So yeah, the Mirage is something I'm familiar with, even though I've never been to Las Vegas. But yeah, there you go. New Jersey town wants to gas geese to death over pooped-filled park, despite protests from the geese. A New Jersey town is planning to kill dozens of geese that have turned a public park into their personal potty, despite strong opposition from community members over the inhumane approach to the problem. The PPAC and Gladstone Borough Council voted for a plan to hire federal wildlife officials to round up roughly 60 geese in Liberty Park next month, when they cannot fly because they are nesting, and gas them to death because they poo. I mean, you know, maybe we should do that with the people who come up with this idea, because I'm pretty sure they fucking poo as well. Hundreds of hungry sheep sent to Nevada foothills to eat fire-prone grass ahead of wildfire season. To be fair, it's a pretty good idea. Federal officials are deploying hundreds of sheep to southwest Nevada ahead of the wildfire season to root out and eat a specific type of invasive weed that often serves as a kindling for the region's big blazes. Now, it's a win-win, because if the sheep eat the grass and it's successful, they don't get the fires. However, if the sheep eat the grass, but it's the wrong grass, and we do get the fires, we can have a lovely barbecue. Fresh lamb, anyone who's got the mint sauce. It's a win-win. Swarms of Mormon crickets wreak havoc, taking over roads, homes. You can't even open the door. There's a lot to chirp about in Nevada. Not the sheep, sadly. Swarms of Mormon crickets are wreaking havoc in northern Nevada, massing over fields, roads, homes and storefronts. Basically, it's a plague of crickets, which was predicted in the Bible. It probably wasn't. But anyway. Hertz charging Tesla renters for not refueling the gas tank. Hang on a minute. Gas tank. Tesla are batteries, they don't have a gas tank. Yeah, but if you hire one off Hertz, you're going to get charged $300 because you haven't filled up the petrol tank that doesn't exist. Yeah, why would you hire a Tesla anyway? You're just damaging the environment. You're better off with a petrol car as it is. AMC slaps Goodfellas with trigger warning for offensive content that includes cultural stereotypes. Now this is a problem that is sweeping the world because a minority of people are offended by stuff, and for that reason the rest of us are not allowed to see the stuff that a minority of people are offended by. And I say you, because I mean, I wouldn't watch Goodfellas if you paid me, I'll be honest. But it comes up now. This film includes language and or cultural stereotypes that are inconsistent with today's standards. It's called history. Get over it. I mean, they're on about knocking statues down of people in Victorian times or whatever because they were something to do with slavery. Well, we could take it further back than that, can't we? Because entire civilization was brought up on humans being used by other people. Look at the pyramids built by slaves. Do we knock the pyramids down? Do we stop eating cooked food because someone discovered how to do it and made everyone else do it? It's just ridiculous. Just get over yourselves. It won't be long before you watch a war movie, but you won't see anyone being shot in a war movie or a western because people might get offended. Oh, grow up. Critical flaw that allowed terrorists to storm the cockpits of 4 jetliners on 9/11 is finally fixed 23 years later. Nearly 23 years after 9/11, a critical flaw that helped terrorists storm the cockpits of 4 jetliners, then kill the pilots and turn the planes into weapons of mass murder, is finally being corrected. President Joe Biden signed into law provisions requiring secondary cockpit barriers on all commercial airplanes. It's the last, I would have thought the first, of the 9/11 Commission's recommendations to be put into law. But surely that was the big one, wasn't it? I mean, after letting people get on aeroplanes with loaded guns, but I mean, other than that. Workers removed dozens of apparent marijuana plants from Wisconsin Capitol Tulip Garden. Now, this is genius. Someone's planned to harvest dozens of apparent marijuana plants grown on the Wisconsin state Capitol grounds have gone up in smoke. The plants sprouted in a tulip garden outside the Capitol. Tanya Warwick, a spokeswoman for the State Department of Administration, told the Associated Press that workers had to remove the plants, but their agency couldn't confirm or deny whether or not they were marijuana plants. And I mean, talk about growing them in plain sight on the Capitol building grounds. I mean, you know, genius, absolute genius. Iconic New York City steakhouse sneakily displays A health rating when it actually earned a C. It's high steak scandal. Iconic Big Apple Theatre District Steakhouse, Gallagher's, has been displaying an A health rating on its storefront, while online the city records show it earned a C, and some customers now have a beef with the pricey eatery. During its most recent reported inspection in May of last year, the white tablecloth restaurant, posh in America, was found to have filth flies and workers with inadequate personal cleanliness. I mean, Jesus, that's horrendous, isn't it? So basically they had smelly workers. So they got, and yeah. Central Park's party pooper rules baffle New Yorkers, with bubbles, balloons and active sports off limits for celebrations. Bubbles, balloons, tables and chairs and even tug of war are off limits for celebrations held in Central Park, and the no fun edict is baffling parents who are speaking out for the mysterious rules that must be followed for gatherings of more than 20. Now, I don't know how many families have more than 20 people in a gathering, but yeah, you can't blow balloons, you can't have a tug of war match, or you can't do anything. You can't do anything fun with 20 people. Sean Diddy Coombs, former assistant, says she was not surprised by the video showing rapper beating his then girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, in a hotel hallway. If you've seen the video, this is absolutely horrific. There's been a lot of beef between P. Diddy, as he was, and other rappers, but yeah, the evidence was just overwhelming. More of that later. A Chicago mum left waiting hours for help after a 911 call for home invasion. Apparently, she was told, "We have no units to send you." A Chicago mum who called 911 during a terrifying break-in was left on her own for hours, with dispatchers telling her to call her local representative to demand more police funding. So you're in the middle of a crisis, you need the police, and the police tell you to ring up your MP, governor, senate, whatever, and tell them that you need it now. Shouldn't be in a situation where that happens. Mum asks for footy clubs to go vegan. A parent and animal rights activist is calling for her local football club to ditch meat sausages in favour of vegan options at the traditional post-game barbecue. The request has sparked widespread debate, with South Melbourne District's Ostick yet to comment on the sausage situation. I just tell her to go somewhere else and cough, I'll be honest with you. Don't put your beliefs over mine. Calls to implement age restrictions. There are increased calls to introduce radical new measures that would implement age restrictions on social media use. This is in Australia. In May's budget, the federal government announced a $6.5 million trial of age verification technology to crack down on child safety online. Yeah, I don't think kids should be able to get on to devices where social media is a thing. Seriously injured fire department New York firefighters to sue New York City for $80 million over closure policy they claim endangered their lives. Four bravest nearly lost their lives in 2023 blaze because of a city policy that closes firehouses for annual physicals, and the rule continues to pose a threat to residents and responders. So basically what they're saying is that they have firehouses or fire stations dotted around, and 4 firefighters had to go into another area for a fire, which was more advanced than it would have been had the local fire station been able to attend, but they couldn't attend because every single one of them that worked at that fire station were sent off for a physical on the same day at the same time, closing the... I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Thankfully no one lost their lives, but it just reeks stupidity. Border Patrol agents reveal how easy terrorists and killers get into the US despite being screened. Now bear in mind, this is one up on what the UK does. We don't screen anyone, just let them in and then shove them in a hotel somewhere and let them go out of the hotel. That. Overwhelmed, the US border agents say violent offenders and potential terror threats are not getting singled out from the thousands of people caught illegally infiltrating the country every day. The border enforcers are sounding the alarm, saying they do not get enough time to efficiently screen people before they are ordered to let them go. usually within 3 days. Now, if no one's got their paperwork or anything, it's going to be impossible to screen them in that time. Sean Diddy Coombs posts apology after release of a horrific video of him beating up Cassie Ventura. I was top. Sean Diddy Coombs apologised for a recently surfaced 2016 video of him brutally beating his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, saying his behaviour was inexcusable. That's an understatement of the fucking year, isn't it? There's no excuse for anything like that at all, ever. But the thing is, this was filmed in 2016. Why has it taken until now to actually show it? I mean, that's 8 years. That's the scary thing. Anyway, video clip, what I filmed today. And basically what I filmed was the Wigan Canal monster. Rarely seen footage in 4K of the poor beastie.
Continuing my...
There you go.
I don't see this very
What's
often.
that? Looks like a weird fish.
A British canal.
And
Looks like a
yeah,
turtle.
wasn't a fish.
Or a tortoise or something.
And that was it. Brief
What the
sighting.
hell was that about?
But yeah, what can you do?
When,
What can
when
you
did
do?
that happen? When did we start getting...
It's scary. Anyway, funny news. News that makes you go... oh, that's hilarious. Or alternatively, what the hell? Or, oh my God, no, really? Ugh. So we start off with, quite interesting, in Middle English, eek meant addition, and an el-ik name was an extra name that someone might have. The N drifted across to become a nickname. Nickname? See? Educational. Sometimes. Tesla is sued over emissions from the Californian plant. Now remember, Tesla is meant to be saving the planet by introducing planet-killing electric battery-operated cars. Anyway, it turns out their factory is breaking many laws for pollution. Who thought that would happen? The US is sending a new package of more than $1 billion in arms and ammunition to Israel. Congressional aides say that's more of a ugh. And then, if you're a gamer, you'll get this. You're not a gamer, you won't get this, but it's still hilarious. So you're into retro gaming? Yeah, I have an Xbox 360 and a PS3. And then you get the look of... which brings me to the story of two young lads who come into the shop, last year. I'd say they were 13, 14 maximum. A full football kit, football boots. Basically, that's how I noticed them, because they were making a hell of a racket on the tile floor of the shop I had at the time. And they come in and one of them goes, oh my God, look, come here, look at this, look at this. And the other one's like, what, come, quick, look. I'm like, what? Oh, they do Xbox 360 games. I've never felt older in my life. I have, actually. No to look in the mirror. But yeah, that basically, that meme kind of resonated with me because of that story. Brits have been pooing all wrong, says top bum doctor, as he warns us, don't wipe. Dr. Evan Goldstein has been telling us that we are not pooing correctly and could actually be causing us harm. He wants us to ditch bog roll for a post-poop shower, which is great if you're in your house. I've done that before when I've run out of toilet roll and I've had to have a poo in the house. I've gone and had a shower afterwards, but it doesn't really work when you're in public toilets, does it? Fool. Brits share savage nicknames for neighbours, such as Thong Man and Dead Dave. Brits have taken to social media to share their brutal nicknames they have chose for their neighbours, who actual names they don't know, with some much more imaginative than others. My neighbours, I refer to them, or if you don't have a shower, yeah, exactly, if you don't have a shower you have to have a bath in your own poo remains tough, lovely. I call my neighbours, who I don't know the names of, Mrs. B, as in Hyacinth, because we live on a council estate, we live on pretty much a main road. It's not the poshest area in the world, and she seems to think she has to have up and down lighters on her house. They look shit on a posh house, never mind a council house. And then, even more recently, has had work done. So she's now got a bay window at the front of the house. It just looks fucking ridiculous. So yeah, she is Mrs. B. And her husband, or boyfriend, or partner, whatever, I call him WB, as in wife beater, because I hear them screaming and shouting all the time at each other. So those are my nicknames for my neighbours. What are yours? Actually, I don't care, I'll be honest. I can't say what I call my neighbours, that would be bad. Very good. A UFO whistleblower claims alien waved down military convoy to ask for spare part. What? The spectacular story, lie, of an alien that flagged down a US military convoy and was asked for help to fix its flying saucer was unveiled this week in a new podcast. I mean, for a start, what are the chances of having a military convoy go past when your spaceship needs a spare part? More importantly, what is the chance of that military convoy having a... I scream bullshit. I found my daughter happily playing with Bigfoot after blood-curdling scream. Mark, who chose to share his story anonymously, but it's called Mark, said she seemed completely relaxed and content, but next to her was an enormous hairy creature that was easily 7 or 8 foot tall. I think he's the shortest spare part. Yes, you're absolutely right, the expert we're talking about. Donald Trump's brain is dementing as experts share traits that will only worsen. Psychologist Dr. Harry Siegel and Dr. John Gartner have dissected the cognitive capacities of both ex and serving presidents Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and they say that Trump is going the same way as Biden. I mean, like we didn't already know that. Portal connecting Dublin and New York disgraced again as someone shows an adult video. So rather than showing your bits, you show someone else's bits. Dublin's New York portal chaotic decline from boob and bum flashing to 9/11 snap. Yeah, I mean, it's the whole thing. I mean, whoever thought that was ever going to work? I mean, ever. World's deadliest volcano erupts as massive Ibu blast rocks Indonesia. As Mount Ibu covers Indonesia in ash, the Daily Star looks at the deadliest volcanoes, including one that wiped out more than 100,000 people with an eruption so fast it triggered a famine. It doesn't tell us what it is without the clickbait. I ain't clicking clickbait, so off Star, that's all I can say. Killer whale gang back attacking boats, and this time everyone is on their side. Following news of a team of orcas or killer whales have begun ramming boats in the Straits of Gibraltar again. People have taken to X, say they only target rich people amid a class war. So if you're in a posh yacht or something like that, you're going to be attacked by the orcas, but if you're in a raft, you're going to be fine. Portal connecting New York and Dublin shut down as racing model flashes breasts within hours of its big reveal. Not the breast, the portal. People. started abusing the portal, and now it's become a vehicle for lewd behaviour, as Dublin City Council say it has been halted so that changes can be made. I would imagine it's going to be like a 10-second or so delay, so that someone can press the button and, like, just put it onto like a screensaver or something. Gen Z shun alcohol and believe eating cow's butter will be weird in a decade. Is it time we just shot Gen Z? Just for the sake of the planet, we don't need that generation. A fifth of 18 to 24-year-olds believe that most people will come to see drinking milk, eating cheese and butter as weird within the next decade. Well, they're fucking bright sparks, aren't they? Jesus. What worries me is by the time I'm incompetent and unable to do anything, it's going to be them motherfuckers who are actually going to be looking after me, assuming I live that long. Sonic lookalike shares who would win fight with PM following egging in a street. With an election looming, an unfortunate bloke has been getting it in the neck from angry people who think he has been doing a bad job of running the country. But sadly, this is Sanjeev from Surrey, who I don't personally think looks remarkably and remotely like Rishi Sunak. But anyway, he wears a suit and a tie, so he gets egged everywhere he goes. I think it's just a way of getting attention. A man stung on testicles by scorpions sues Las Vegas hotel as infestation rises. Michael Fauci was staying at a Las Vegas hotel when he awoke to an intense pain in his nether regions before realising a scorpion was the perpetrator of this grim crime. Now, imagine sharing a bed with a scorpion is bad enough, but to have it sting you in your tentacles would be really annoying. Britain's kindest plumber faces claims over faking stories of helping people. James Anderson, a tradesman dubbed Britain's kindest plumber, won a Pride of Britain award but now faces claim from the BBC over faking posts on social media, including, it turns out, a picture of a woman who he's fixed a boiler for who died 2 years earlier. Yeah, seems like a legitimate guy. Cursed Shrek-themed breakfast leaves people divided as some ask, what is that? Well, it's donkey, obviously. Shrek breakfast has left social media users divided as some were left scratching their heads after someone modelled their avocado and mushrooms on toast on characters from the hit DreamWorks film. I would imagine that's just mushrooms, an egg, and possibly a bit of bacon. But why the hell you go to the effort of doing that is beyond me. But you can just see to the right of that there's a little bit of green, so I imagine that's the avocado, which would be Shrek himself, or herself if it's Shrek-esque. Meanwhile, as many people have pointed out, in a scene not dissimilar to many scenes in the hit TV show Only Fools and Horses, an airport worker suffers Del Boy gaff as ladder is moved, and it's all caught on camera. A clip of the incident, an Indonesian airport circulating, as shows a stepladder was removed from the Airbus A320 with the door still open. The guy turns round to take a step back and falls out. Suffered some injuries, quite severe injuries, but not life-threatening or life-changing. But again, where there's a blame, there's a blame. Pope to hold press conference on aliens and supernatural, and people are confused. Well, not really. I mean, the guy believes in fairy tales anyway. I mean, the Bible, fairy tale. Northern Light UK alert as Brits could see it again. Find out when and where. Aurora watch. No, different Aurora. UK has issued an amber alert for UK, meaning the aurora is likely to be visible from by eye from Scotland, Northern England and Northern Ireland. But I think most people only see it through the camera. I don't think you see it with the naked eye. A mourning billionaire wants just one of many unflattering portraits removed. Australia's richest person, Gina Reinhardt, has demanded the gallery remove an unflattering portrait of her, but it's just of one of many unforgiving, sometimes brutal paintings the controversial fixtures had painted of her. And I'll be honest with you, if that was a picture of me, I'd be like, well, you got my eyes wrong for a start. But yeah, I think I'd be a bit upset as well. Bank holiday washout as exports forecast torrential and thundery downpours. Ice cream BS, because that's what the experts seem to think all the time. Nothing happens. Maverick surgeon wants to transplant living human head onto a dead body. After critics in the US objected to his plan, why? To graft a living human head onto the body of a recently deceased donor, Italian neurosurgeon Sergio Canavero moved to China. But then his volunteer fell in love and decided that they didn't want to be killed and have their head took off and then put in another body. I mean, I kind of get where the idea is going from. If your brain's, okay and good and everything, but your body's crap, and then someone dies, you could have your head put on their body and then you could live a normal life. But let's be honest, it's not always the body that goes first. It's more often than not the brain that goes first. Alzheimer's, dementia, early onset dementia, etc, etc, etc. It's the brain that goes. So what's the point of transferring a head of someone if their brain's already gone? What the Vatican knows about aliens and why UFO cover-up won't go away. The Vatican has long been thought to be hiding something very telling when it comes to it, and the Pope's involvement with the alien cover-ups with continued silence seemingly not helping. What they don't realise is, on top of that building, alien spaceship, hiding in plain sight. They got that idea from drug cartel in America. Topless bloke in bar tries to kill slot machine as horrified punters watch on. So the headline is, topless bloke in a bar tries to kill a slot machine. So basically he gets angry with a slot machine, but he's a topless bloke. I was topless on the canal, scaring people, but that's fine. However, the first line of the actual story reads, the aggressive man put his top back on before violently attacking the slot machine and smashing it to smithereens, all the while shouting and swearing at the bearer at it. So he was shirtless, but he put his shirt back on again before he attacked the machine. Therefore he wasn't shirtless. So, and he attacked the machine. I mean, where's the story? I don't get the story. Even if he was shirtless, if he was naked, where was the story be? Hell's Playground, town where haunted kids are chased by murderous ghosts. Broadhead, Wisconsin, needs a tourist attraction. Oh no, sorry, I added that bit. Is haunted by an evil past that includes horrific murders and arson, resulting in its current residents running into angry ghosts who want their own back. I'm going to have to scream, "Bullshit!" again. I'm sorry. Absolute nonsense. A herpes-ridden monkey attacks survival guide as rampaging beast terrorizes village. If confronted by an angry herpes-carrying monkey that's on the attack, your instinct might be to bolt from the beast. But vets and animal behaviourists advise you not to do so. Instead, you tell you love it, and yeah, it'll be nice to you and won't bite you. UK waterways teeming with deadly diseases as woman thought bug wouldn't end. UK's wild swimming spots are full of deadly bacteria and viruses, the campaigners claim, as one wild swimmer describes a nightmare illness picked up from the Thames that she feared would never end. You can imagine it's the squirts. Not that I want to imagine her with squirts, but yeah, it'd be the squirts, wouldn't it? That would never end. Meanwhile, let's look at the Wigan Canal Beast Monster. Wigan Canal Monster. No, Loch Ness. Yeah, Loch Ness Monster. Wigan Canal Monster.
Continuing my...
Quick look.
I don't see this very often.
It notices me. It knows I'm looking
British
at it.
Canal.
So what does it do?
Oh, it's like a turtle. Or a tortoise or something.
Dives. The big question is, how much air can they hold in their lungs at any one time? Because it was down for ages, never saw it again. Anyway, you can look out for more of that during Wigan Watch. No, the vlog. I'm not doing it on Wigan Watch. I might do it on Wigan Watch. I might include that bit on Wigan Watch. There's lots of other nature stuff that went on as well. It was lovely. Anyway, it's time to look at the breaking news that's occurred breakingly whilst I've been doing this broadcast. Right, I have no idea what's going on. The government says do not go to work if you contract virus sweeping UK. What virus? Doesn't tell us. Dozens of stores that you once loved that don't exist anymore. Yeah, there's loads of them, isn't there? Blockbuster and Debenhams and BHS. I say love. I didn't love any of them, but you know what I mean. As a dementia nurse, this is what I wish everyone knew about the illness. The problem is you'd forget. New COVID variants stoke fears of a summer surge in cases, but surely we're outside so we get less. Signs, symptoms and causes of vascular dementia and how to prevent it. Apparently it's more significant or more common in men. Man City cannot escape awkward truth over 115 charges after needless Everton dig. Super Grand star Gudrun Uri has died, aged 90 odd. Sir Tony O'Reilly obituary. Vintage photos of fast food restaurants show what it was like to go to McDonald's back in the day. Early Alzheimer's warning you need to know, but you forget, wouldn't you? So there's no point. Confusion surrounding search for helicopter carrying Iranian president after hard landing. West Streeting forgets one of Labour's 6 pledges. Campaigners say fight is not over as they prepare for publication of infected blood scandal report, which has been going on for a while. Missile destroys Russian Black Sea fleet, says Ukraine military, which is good news. Reeves says ministers gaslighting over inflation, over another expected fall in inflation. And the blue meteor light that lights up European skies. Sounds nice. Where are we going here? Oh, here we go. Yeah, do not go to work if you contract this virus, apparently. Whoa, 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 whoa. I did not click on that. Do not do that again. 15 key factors that increase your risk of getting dementia. Virgin plots rail return. To West Coast routes because Avanti are absolutely rubbish, but remember rightly, Virgin were rubbish as well, which is why Avanti got it, so I don't really see how that's going to work. Will you stop doing that? I do not want that happening. Stop it. My PC is definitely playing up today. She was 98, Supergram. The secret tube tunnel under London that's 150 years old. I can imagine something to do with the post office. KP2. This is what China has to say about the new COVID variant. Blue fireball flashes in night sky as comet fragment soars over Spain and Portugal. Stephen Merchant says people are allowed to criticise things amid council culture debates. I think we're nearly enough there. Toto Wolff's some had to go. Response to Mercedes losing key personnel. Mercedes not doing well in F1 at the minute. What is a smart motorway? Mid claims that tech leaves drivers at risk. No, it's drivers who leave drivers at risk who ignore these signs. Who did it best? Doctor Who's best doctors ranked. I'll tell you who's done it shite at the minute, and that's Russell T Davies coming back. What the hell is going on with Doctor Who? I've not seen this weekend's episode, but the first two were absolutely horrendous. Right, I think we're done. Quick look. The Butcher of Tehran has a fearsome reputation, and many will fear instability. That is a problem, I suppose, because better the devil you know. So that's it. That is, you know what a week that was. I know it's not. NewsNight at 10 weekly roundup. Oh, did I'm still tough. I'm with you on that one, I'll be honest with you. Anyway, we've had 19 views, got chat rate of 2, we've got 3 concurrent viewers, got no likes whatsoever. Be fair, it's been very quiet tonight, but there's a lot of other stuff going on, and it is later than normal. I do get more people listening to this later on than I do watching it live. It's gone midnight, so we've been on for 2 hours. Average view duration is 17 minutes and 50 seconds. We've been on for 1 hour and 57 minutes, so a big shout out to Stephen LFC, Kelly and Rollo, Smiley Mac who's gone to bed, JT and Rachel, and Tufts TV, Smiley Mac. So yeah, thank you very much. And all being well, I will be seeing you next time. Until then, thank you for watching. Bye. I went to bed in camp.